Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere?
Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and no one would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. 'Cause when you don't feel strong enough to stand,
you can reach out your hand, and oh, someone will come running, and I know they'll take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found.
so let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around.
You will be found.
Comes crashing through when you need someone to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. Let the sun come streaming in, 'cause you'll reach up and rise again. If you only will be found, you'll be found. Crashing through, running, you will be found. Take your home, take your way.
Well, welcome to Stowmarket Citadel, a place where we love God and we love others. I know that first piece was from the West End, a song entitled You Will Be Found. I think those words are very appropriate for us today. As for announcements, you should be receiving an envelope either pushed through your door, hand delivered to you. You should get this one way or another. If you don't see one of these in the next week, please don't hesitate to call or text or get a hold of us in any way necessary to get your envelope. This here is for our offering, for our harvest offering. The nice thing, and this will be on the inside, listed on the inside of the envelope, 75% of the funds raised will go to support our local core mission, and 25% will be used for a missional purpose. What we were going to be using it for is something called Feeding Hope, and there'll be a video a little bit later on regarding this, and so then you can see a little bit more where the funds go. But before we get too much further, let us take a moment to worship God today. I'm going to show you two very short videos, that explains a little bit more what Feeding Hope is all about. Again, these are two very, very short ones, and let's roll the clip now.
Hi, my name is Janet. I live here on my farm in Zimbabwe. The farm has been in the family for generations. I have 5 children: Runako, Maida, Tawana, Takudzwa, and Zira. Last year my farm wasn't doing so well. We didn't have enough food at home or even enough money to pay for my children's school fees. I heard about the training program for farmers at the local Salvation Army, and I could see that the small farm at the core was producing a much better harvest than mine. I decided to join, and I've learned so many things. how climate change means that the old ways of farming are not working so well because the seasons are less predictable. I learned how to plant at the onset of the rains so the crops thrive before the dry spell, and I've learned how to keep the moisture in the soil. I learned ways to farm that don't need expensive synthetic fertilizers and how growing diverse crops improves food production and nutrition. When I tried these things on my farm, the seedlings looked stronger and more seeds sprouted. When it came to harvest, we got double what we managed last year. I couldn't believe it. So, I've been able to feed my family and sell my produce and pay for the school fees. Next season, I hope I can grow even more than this. Thank you, Salvation Army.
I am Gudu, and this is my family farm, which I inherited from my father. Here is my wife Nicole and our children, who help us on the farm. This is my eldest son Akudzwe. One day he will inherit the farm from me.
Dad, there is no maize growing here. What happened to the seeds?
We will have to work harder to make the soil better. You know what the rain is like.
Dad works so hard already, and we never have a big crop. Dad, I'm not sure I want to be a farmer. I might like a job somewhere else one day.
I told my friends that Akudzwe doesn't want to be a farmer. They suggested bringing him to the Salvation Army training program, where he might meet other young people. Akudzwe and I enjoy practicing the new techniques, planting seeds in straight lines and into holes, and in time for the rainy season. The crops are growing well, and when it's time for harvesting, there is so much. It has taken a few years, but now our farm is flourishing. Now Akudzwe drives the new truck to market.
Hi, my name is Akudzwe, and this is my farm. My son will inherit it from me one day.
A lot of times when a pastor or a preacher puts together a sermon, they like to have a nice hook at the beginning, and then they like to have 2 or 3 points, and then they like to tie it up with a neat little bow at the end. And I know that we like to do this because we like to be able to present it. We want to give something good and God-honoring, and we want to bring a challenge. Sometimes, though, when we do that, we kind of muddle up really what it's trying to say, and instead of just reading the scriptures. And here I'm looking at the book of Acts, and I know that Acts, the Acts of the Apostles, is one of those fantastic books that kind of show what happened after Jesus was dead, buried, resurrected, and has the Spirit infuses the early church and how it spread. And one of the things that I think is very interesting in the book of Acts is it never actually ends, which means we are still in that time and date where God is doing magnificent things all around the world. And when you're looking up at chapter 1 in Acts, I like starting in verse 6 where it says, they, which is all the people, gathered around him, Jesus, and they asked him, Lord, are you at this time going to restore the kingdom of Israel? And I think that that's a very important question because they wanted to make sure that that was established. And Jesus said to them, this is verse 7, it is not for you to know the times or dates the Father has set by his own authority, but you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and the ends of the earth. I'm going to end it there because I think what Jesus was saying is that when this Holy Spirit came to empower the church, that we would be witnesses, not just to our own communities. If you notice, it says, you'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem, which was their city. And in all of Judea and Samaria. So that was like the county and the country, and then to the ends of the earth. I think as Christians, our responsibility is to reach our communities for the Lord, but then also allow it to then reach outside our communities and ultimately into the uttermost parts of the world. Now, there are a lot of places in the world that either have not heard the gospel yet, or it hasn't actually been shared with them properly yet, or in the case of the 2 videos I showed earlier, it's being shared but in a different way. When we're able to meet needs in the community, then that means we bring people to us. People come into our hall, people come into our presence, we're able to reach out, and then when people ask us what makes us different or why do we do this, we can share the love of Christ with them. That's why it's important for us Christians to not only give of our time, right, but of also our talent and our treasure. As we give to world services and as we give to these things that are going to be exposing other people to the gospel, we are in fact fulfilling this great commission that we were given, and that is to go. Sometimes you and I can't go personally. Not everyone is as fortunate of myself to be able to be in a different country presenting the gospel. One way we could be in another country presenting the gospel is by giving so that others can go and do it. God calls all kinds of people. God calls people to be missionaries every day. But God also calls those of us who just might have a little extra funds to be able to give and to give so that someone can actually go. I've often talked about what it would be like in this day to actually support Jesus financially. We see that Jesus even had someone that was a treasurer in his inner circle. And so we know people used to give. And I used to say, how great would it have been to actually give to Jesus to do the ministry? Well, we can. We can by giving today, by giving generously to our any of our campaigns that we send out, whether it's the big collection that will go nationally, or whether it is something like we're doing this week with our harvest that's going to be going to a good cause, bringing the gospel to a people that you and I may never meet. But we will be doing our duty. And so let us, first of all, pray that the Holy Spirit indwells within us like on this day. And let us actually ask God what he wants us to do regarding our time and our talents and our treasure. Let us be examples of God's love today. May God bless you.